T1 13-0 FNATIC in the SOOP VALORANT League Grand Final. They used triple duelist to throw a curveball at FNATIC and it completely caught them off guard. I'm going to give you a brief overview of how Waylay, Yoru, and Reyna work together to make these execs the most impossible thing to deal with. To explain how this comp works together, Sova is going to find where the enemies are with his drone or his dart, and Waylay is going to use her kit to dash in, find somebody to hinder, and if she gets in any danger, she's going to TP out. Yoru is going to also TP into the site to dive on the same person that Waylay is, and he's going to also throw supporting flashes for Waylay to take advantage of, while Reyna is also throwing additional leers to make it extra safe for both of them. Astra, in most of these execs, is throwing a star at this corner and making sure she smokes. There's going to be times where she's reactively starring off of the Sova's drone, and you're going to see that in a couple of instances. So to start out with this round, Astra has a star on the entrance just in case anyone aggresses, and the drone is going to start the exec. So Kayak counter utils this Waylay that's dashing in based on the drone seeing him. And Buzz is going to throw a hinder and TP out because he would have gotten stunned. Waylay is safe and Yoru TPs in to punish his Astra. And Reyna is ready to eye and trade him if everything goes poorly. At the same time, Waylay is pathing right after she TP'd back out and she re-entered the site. And now you're going to see how Reyna makes a very big difference against these retake heavy comps. FNATIC are running Sova and Breach that are very strong retake characters. They're usually used to set up Waylay to retake a site. But because they're playing Reyna, she has a dismiss and she can play these angles where she can take aggressive fights in front of the util and dismiss out. Waylay is also going to be ready to trade her and fight with her so that she's not alone and they're using teamwork in a professional game. So you see that Breach is getting ready for a set retake and Meteor is getting ready to disrespect the util. Crashies is completely caught off guard by this. And because Reyna has a dismiss, she got the kill, she can dismiss out, she's no longer going to get traded. Waylay swung to make sure she got out for sure, and now they're going to double swing as Breach is throwing all of his util. Now you're going to see that this round started out the same. Reyna leered to get into A main. Yoru flashed also to get anybody that's deeper or in front of the eye. The exec is going to start out the same. The drone finds anybody. As soon as Sova gets shocked out, they go with the plan. Waylay is going to dash into sight with an Astra star that is getting the corner that she's dashing in front of. At the same time, Reyna is leering so that Waylay can get in safe, and Sova is darting back sight so that Waylay is aware of anyone that is playing in this area. Waylay TPs out after she sees the dart. The dart unfortunately got a scan off, so she has to give up the space or risk dying to any of the Sova that's playing to spam. And because it's safe and she got the dart, Yoru TPs in, and Reyna is ready to trade anybody that's trying to make a play through the smoke. Now you're going to see the same disrespecting of the util in the post plant. FNATIC are trying to get info about where they're playing, and Yoru is hiding from the drone while Reyna breaks, and he starts getting very aggressive. So after Reyna breaks the drone, Yoru and Waylay swing wide and catch Crashies off again. Breach is throwing all this util, and they're just completely disrespecting all the util because they're feeling it, and they feel confident in taking their fights because they can get out if things get bad. T1 did a really good job of comboing their ults in this round, where they use Yoru to get information about where anybody is, so that Waylay can ult off of him and slow all of the people in the Waylay ult or around the Yoru, so that one, he can frag them, and then two, Sova can ult the people that are basically standing still. They can't do anything. So you'll see this. Yoru is finding a person. Waylay is ulting the people that he found. And Sova is going to ult those same people and punish them for playing on site. Waylay, after her ult, dashes into the site. And Reyna leers at the same time, and she's swinging and holding the right side of the site. So every part of the site is covered. She ends up getting fragged by the person playing in window. And then Waylay and Yoru come back to fight the person that fragged Reyna. Now, it's really important to note that this round, Izu saw that they're throwing a left side site smoke. This is important because the next round, T1 adjusts to FNATIC's adjustment and completely catch them off guard again. Instead of doing the same left side exec that they've been doing, you're going to see that Reyna crosses to the other side. Sova is going to set up a dart. And Reyna is going to leer. You're going to see that Waylay is going to dash to the right. The Sova dart is going to land. Yoru is going to TP to the same spot and unfortunately go into the smoke by himself. He really should have waited for his teammate to be ready. But this timing that Waylay has makes it difficult for, one, the breach to get any impact because there's no way anybody can get stunned by any of this util. And Waylay is already in front of all the util, and she's going to go punish this breach for being unaware. So there, Waylay takes advantage of the timing because of the confusing exec and adjustment that T1 are making. And because her Yoru died, they're taking their time and waiting for the FNATIC players to make a play through the smoke. FNATIC are in a really bad spot, and they're currently getting pinched. They can't look both ways. So they decide to push back site and try to isolate the Waylay, but she ends up getting a frag, and it ends up being a free site. Now, again, T1's game plan is to completely disrespect any of this retake. Over and over again, they're feeling confident. They want to take their fights. And they clearly have people covering each angle. Like Astra's watching heaven this entire time because her teammates are holding spawn. And this chamber gets punished because he's going out by himself. This is another reason that Yoru and duelists with mobility are good in general, is that they can dodge any of these set trap plays that pro teams like to run. Yoru can get out of any of these utility combos because he has a TP. So you're going to see here that Izu hits a nice shot, right? But this play is designed so that even if Kayak doesn't get the kill, they can at least guarantee that this person's going to get breach done or Waylay hindered, plus the Sova ult, right? They're trying to use the same concept that T1 used earlier, but with a breach stun or a Waylay hinder. And it's supposed to immobilize the Yoru, but because he can TP out, he avoids any of this. And FNATIC don't get the value out of the ult. They actually end up a man down, even though they just use an ult. And it's supposed to be like a free round that you get from these types of rounds. And this is why Yoru is a very strong agent. So they end up going back into A because they know the site is weak. The same sequence of events happens. The Sova drones in, finds anybody. Reyna went a little bit early and got caught off, but the concept is the same. Waylay ults the site. She double dashes behind the Astra, and Yoru flashes through the smoke and punishes the Astra. So the Astra has to look in front of her or behind her, but if she's looking in front of her, she gets flashed. And then, I don't know if you notice this, but while Sova is droning, Astra is in her Astra form. Munchkin is in her Astra form and placed a star off of the drone's contact. So I'm assuming that this was a suck because I saw Astra move and she wasn't stunned. She doesn't look stunned, but he is actively looking for where to place his stars based on what the Sova drone is finding. And again, the pathing is the same. 2 people swinging left side sight, and there's 1 person swinging right, holding for these people that are trying to flood back in. Another note for Munchkin is that he placed a star and full smoked spawn because he figured that they'd be flooding back in. Which is extremely impressive. Now, it's important to note that in round 9, they ended A. While they're up 9-0, FNATIC end up taking a timeout. And you can see they're a little bit frustrated and confused about what to do. And T1 have ended A about 4 times, 5 times. So they end up stacking A after this timeout. Chambers A, they're putting Aljafir at A because he's one of their star fraggers. He hasn't really felt any impact in the game. And the rest of them are playing to flood back into the site. So T1 know this. And instead of running their normal A exec, they anticipate the adjustment from FNATIC. And they end up running a 1-3-1. They set up Reyna with a simple Sova dart, while Yoru is looking for a kill on a person that hasn't seen any action almost the entire game. Yoru gets the kill. Meteor ends up punishing Crashies for a bad drone spot. And this is where you see the same concept where Yoru is ulting behind them. Yoru's ulting behind them to get info. Waylay is going to dash onto the person that Yoru finds, and it makes for this impossible situation where Yoru's behind you and Waylay is in front of you, and you have no choice but to face an Astra and a Waylay that have perfect spacing with somebody behind you as well. And just in case anything else goes wrong, they have an Astra Star that is ready to stun anybody that's playing behind cover, which just makes this incredible. Like, it's very well played from T1. Now, because of the anticipated adjustments from FNATIC, T1 are anticipating that FNATIC is going to play Flood in this situation, which they are correct. Alfajir is still playing at A. The timeout adjustment is still active. And it's important that you notice that they're droning. They're waiting for the info of the drone. They see nothing contesting front sight. You're going to see that the TP is not going to the normal default spot that it has been. It's actually going to backside. And Waylay has ult. So because they didn't see anything on site, Waylay saves her ult and Yoru sends his TP to backside. And this is where it gets really cool, is Waylay is going to ult backside because they're anticipating the flood. And this is where it's just an insane level of Valorant that's being played by T1 right now. They see nothing on the site. They save the ult even though they have it. Waylay TP's in. Yoru is waiting for the Waylay ult that's supposed to hit backside. Once the Waylay ult pops, he TP's in. And he tries to punish anybody that is slowed by the Waylay ult. Even though some people didn't get hit, it is still incredible that they're able to come up with these adjustments either one on the fly, or even if they're pre-planned, it is still very hard to do. Like, this is very good Valorant with this very odd comp that T1 is running. Now, do you think that Triple Duelist takes more or less teamwork? Please let me know down below.